Hi everybody, I want to speak about self-love today and why I think it's one of the most powerful tools that you can actually use for self-growth. Now, life is not easy. Trust me, life is not easy, and we gotta attune ourselves to the power of self-love, guys. Okay, if you don't love yourself, you lose. This is my perspective. If you don't love yourself, you lose. And I realized that life brings us moments and circumstances and people that have the power to actually wound us. But I realized that self-love is about responsibility, and it's important how you choose to actually respond to these things. It's important how you choose to actually face your fear. It's important how you choose to actually be yourself in the process. And I realized that, again, it's not easy. It's not easy, and I have been through moments of despair. I have been through moments of low vibrational states of consciousness. I have been through moments where I have created karma for myself. And I realized that everything has a consequence. Okay, we live in a causal universe. Everything has a cause and everything has an effect. So I realized that if I want to love myself, I gotta take care of myself. You know, if I want to love myself, I gotta take care of myself. If I want to love myself, I gotta learn to project something beautiful out into the world, okay? And this is not always easy, especially with our egos coming up, especially with our lower self coming up, okay? So what I've seen in my journey was the fact that even in failure, even in rough moments, even where I felt like I was losing myself, I had to love myself. Okay, so how do we love ourselves? Well, we simply remind ourselves how powerful we are. Okay, it's super important to step into the state of gratefulness. Okay, and what I'm realizing is the fact that the first thing that I gotta be grateful for is my state of consciousness. Okay, because I believe that living on this planet, on these times, is actually a gift. Okay, it's actually a gift. And when we actually allow ourselves to go through our experiences, no matter what happens, we see that we have the power to actually extract the gift of each experience. Okay, so really, when you love yourself, you don't judge yourself. Okay, when you love yourself, you don't judge yourself. When you love yourself, you also allow yourself to actually be in all kinds of states of consciousness. When you love yourself, you appreciate everything about yourself. Even your flaws, even your imperfections, even your ego. Okay, you love everything about yourself. Okay, so my suggestion for today is try as much as possible to actually be easy on yourself. Because, you know, if you are hard on yourself and if you constantly judge yourself, you actually get into a state of consciousness that will actually not serve you. Okay, so in a way, you gotta be smart about it. And you gotta give yourself the time and freedom and space necessary for you to actually step into the evolution state. Okay, I believe that everything in the universe is actually constantly expanding. Okay, the universe is not static, and everything is movement. This is the principle of freedom. Everything changes, and you change as well. And I realized that sometimes I find myself in moments of anger. Sometimes I find myself in moments of resistance. But what I'm doing in those moments is the fact that I'm taking responsibility for how I feel. And I allow myself to actually feel everything that comes through. Okay? So if you want to love yourself, you gotta actually allow everything that is coming into your state of consciousness to actually be there. Okay? You don't have to judge what you feel. You don't have to judge what you think. Because you are not your feelings and you are not your mind. You are beyond these things, okay? You are infinite consciousness expressing itself through a human. You are the universe itself expressing itself through a human, okay? So guys, when we realize that we are more than we think, when we realize that we are more than we feel, we actually step into that state of consciousness which represents infinity. We step into that state of consciousness that represents higher awareness and higher consciousness. But it all starts with self-love. How much do you love yourself today? How much do you actually give yourself the time and freedom and space necessary today for you to actually be your best version? Okay, so I realized that when I love myself, I actually feel good. When I love myself, I actually feel good. And I also see that I have a lot of flaws. I have a lot of imperfections. But the thing is the fact that I'm not giving up. And when I love myself, I also give myself the motivation to actually not give up, okay? So it's about really taking the responsibility necessary for me to actually find myself in my best state of consciousness. And from my perspective, the best state of consciousness is about love. It's about creativity. It's about peace, harmony, abundance. It's about a state where you are just feeling good. It's about a state where you are just expressing yourself, okay? So yes, self-love is super important. It is one of the most powerful tools that you can use in order to thrive in this life. Because I see that we live in a society where people don't actually love themselves. We live in a society where we are being programmed to actually judge ourselves and to compare ourselves to others and to be in a low state of consciousness. But really, when we question these things and when we take responsibility for our own state of consciousness, we realize that we have the power to love ourselves. And I see that this goes even into relationships, okay? I found myself in a relationship where I wanted to actually take all the power from the partner and not give myself any power, okay? But what I'm seeing right now is the fact that when I love myself, the other person will actually love myself as well, because now I step into my power, now I step into my gifts, now I step into my higher state of consciousness, and I allow myself to be myself. So it's about really getting to play your own game, guys. Play your own game and really get that authentic state of consciousness out of yourself and get to actually express it into the world, okay? So yes, it's not always about the positive. It's not always about the positive, but when you love yourself, you also learn to dance with your shadows. You also learn to dance with your imperfections, okay? So when you love yourself, you realize that you are not perfect. And yes, it's okay to not feel okay sometimes. It's okay to not be okay sometimes. It's okay to fail sometimes. It's okay to make mistakes sometimes. But it's also okay to forgive. It's also okay to forgive. It's also okay to actually step into that higher state of consciousness and actually be your best version, okay? So yes, lately I have gone through moments where I felt a bit low vibrational. I felt a bit static. And this is why I haven't created videos, so many videos, because I have created videos. And I realized that yes, it's also okay to take a break. It's also okay to take a break. It's also okay to take a break and really get to actually reset yourself into your own state of consciousness. Okay, so self-love is about appreciation. And really, I see that when I love myself, I also love others. When I love myself, I also love others. When I hate myself, I hate others, okay? So it's like everything is actually a mirror of your own perception. How do you choose to see life today? How do you choose to see yourself today? What do you choose to actually create today? How do you choose to actually express yourself today, okay? So it's about really going within and finding the secret there, because the secret is within. The secret is in our deepest state of consciousness, which is the state of observation, which is the state of beingness, okay? It's not necessarily so much about doing, but more likely finding the peace in your state of beingness. Yes, so again, self-love is one of the most powerful tools that you can use if you want to actually win at life. Love yourself and appreciate yourself and embrace yourself and express yourself the way that you want to express yourself. And realize that you don't have to judge yourself, you don't have to hate yourself. There is no room for that, because that is actually a low state of consciousness. So let love guide you, not fear. Let love guide you, not fear. And realize that you are perfect in your imperfections. Love your flaws, love your imperfections, and you will see that there is so much power even in your shadow. There is so much power even in your low state of consciousness. There is so much power within yourself. Allow yourself to forgive. It's coming from the heart, okay? The more that you listen to your intuition, it's the more that you will actually thrive in this life. It's the more that you will actually win the game of life, okay? So yes, self-love feels good. Self-love feels good, and Letting go feels good. Taking responsibility feels good. Perceiving things in a way that will actually serve me feels good. Okay? So it's about forgiveness. It's about stepping into that heart space and getting to actually express yourselves. Guys, thank you for watching. And yes, like always, see you on what is coming up next. I love you so much. And yes, love yourself, because you only live a limited time in this lifetime. Of course, there may be next lives and past lives, but for now, make sure that you actually allow yourself to love yourself unconditionally and love others unconditionally as well. I love you so much. Take responsibility and see what happens. Love yourself and see what happens. And if you are new to my YouTube channel, feel free to subscribe, leave a comment. And if you want to work with me personally, feel free to send me a message. And also, if you want to be part of my spiritual podcast called Consciously Awakening, feel free to send me a message. I love you. Bye bye. Ciao, guys.